We're on your food truck book. Up until this point, you should have come up with a concept. You can always tweak your concept, change your concept. As you go, you'll get inspired and want to do other things. So I know that some of you aren't completely done with this page either. And if you aren't, great. You can work on that a little bit later. But right now, we're going to talk about loans. And in this case, we are going to go under the guise that you will need about an $85,000 loan. Box trucks are not cheap. All of the equipment is not cheap. This should cover you, at least get you started off your feet. But we need to see which one of these payments is going to work better for us. That being said, I gave you in your warm-up today a link to a financial calculator. So I'm going to ask that you use that one. So we're all using the same one, because you're going to go in here and you are going to calculate how much interest you would end up paying for that loan and what the monthly payment is. So I'm going to do a separate example with you guys. I know that I thought I brought a browser in here. Let's take a look and see. I'll just add one in real quick. This is what you should have seen. So just as a quick reminder, if you were going to get an $85,000 loan, one thing that's really important to know is how long you're going to be paying on that loan, what the term of the loan is. So let's just say months wise, notice this says months. If I was going for 10 years, that's 120 months. If I'm going for 20 years, that's 240 months. And let's say I have let's give this, I'm going to go high, 7% interest rate. And I'm going to hit calculate, and it's going to tell me that my monthly payment is $659, and that the total interest that I'm going to pay is $73,160.98. That's it. That's all you're going to have to do to figure out the numbers. You have 3 different loans that you are going to calculate this information for. So that's the first thing you're going to do. I want you to go ahead and pause the video, do what you have to do to get that portion finished, and then come back to me and I will get you set up on the second part. Okay, this is me, second part. You should have something here, here, and here for how much interest you are paying. And then you're putting the monthly payments for here. And remember that I asked you to make sure that you recognize whether or not you were putting months and years in or something along those lines. So this was already in months, which is really great. The next thing I'm going to have you do is I want you to go online and I want you to calculate, or not calculate, research and find out what our local minimum wage is. You can Google that. You can say Jefferson County, New York, current minimum wage in your Google. Now, we're going to talk about how many full-time employees you are going to want, how many hours you're open weekly, what you calculate that the weekly wages will be, and then take that to figure out what the total monthly wages are going to be. Notice that once you find that, you are going to be able to calculate your weekly minimum sales goal. I will tell you right now, you are going to pay yourself. You're going to also decide based on what kind of operation you're making, how many workers you're going to have. So I would definitely bank on having at least 2 workers. If you tell me you're going to be open 60 hours a week, which sounds like a lot, but if you think about, what days of the week that you would choose to be open, I would definitely try to be a person that is consistently and always open, and build a reputation for that. So if I was putting this much money into it, I might be open 7 days a week. That doesn't mean I have to work 7 days a week. It means I have to make sure I have the support for that. So say I open 7 days a week from noon to 5. That's 35 hours. That's not a lot of hours. How about noon to 8? 8 times 7, that's 56 hours. And noon to 8 is some conservative hours, if you ask me. But it also depends. Some of you might be doing a breakfast thing, a coffee thing, a smoothie thing. Who knows what you got going on? But the things that you're going to be filling in next are what the local minimum wages. That's kind of important. Um, the number of full-time employees, at least two, and that includes you. What your hours are going to be. How many hours a week are you going to be open? Once you know that, you can use that to figure out how much each employee will make. So if you're going to be open for 60 hours a week, you plan to be there yourself for 40 hours, then you need to write that in your notes section so you can start doing this. Myself, I have whatever the minimum wage is. I'm not going to tell you. I want you to find it out times my 40 hours. And then I'm going to say my first employee, Tina, I want her to work 20 hours a week. That will help me at least take a day off or two. And then maybe I have another worker, minimum wage times, maybe they have 20. So if I add these up, that's my total wages. If I add these up for the week, that is my total wage. If I am doing month, you can just multiply this by 4 to find the monthly wages. We'll just assume the month has 4 weeks in it. This has to be done today. When you get that done, you can go back and you can look at your food truck design and jazz it up a little. You can look at the food truck concepts, jazz it up a little, and start to think about your menu. I don't want you to start the menu, but if you want to take some notes about things that you are thinking about, here is the place to do it. This is the page right before. I hope you have a fantastic day. Be good. I will see you tomorrow.